And hello, and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. We are back again a day later than usual. Matt had to be called away on a thing, but hey, we're here now. We got some actual news to talk about this week, Matt. Some real news. We're not going to be bamfing for time.
No, we say that, but it's funny, like when we did our show last week, it was like 2 hours long. Like we had to cut it down a little bit. But yeah, it was over 2 hours long, and we had nothing to like really talk about.
How is that possible? How do our shows run longer when we have less to talk about?
I guarantee you this show will be shorter because we have things to talk about.
That's true. I guess we'll have to see how that goes. But one thing I do want to do before we start, Matt, technically two things. I want to do some show housekeeping, which we have not done for a little bit. And that's really channel housekeeping as well for the whole Kate Joel channel, because, you know, the two are simpatico. They go together. Mm-hmm. First off, some really great news. For the first time, maybe not ever, I think we had one before this, but for the first time in a long, long time, the comic multiverse is sponsored.
It is,
yes.
And it's sponsored by a really cool thing that both me and you like, even though the thing that we're sponsored by isn't available in my country.
Yeah.
I like it. I still like it because some of the stuff is available here.
Yes. For those who don't know, and I'm sure you've heard about it once or twice before, Matt and I have dropped a lot of weight recently. You can see it if you go back and watch a show from a year ago. We're a lot smaller. I'm up to have lost about almost 40 pounds. I went from like 280 to 240. I dropped a couple shirt and pant sizes. Feeling great about it, and I was able to do that thanks to switching my diet to a keto diet. And that's why Matt and I are super, super pumped to say that our first real big sponsor in a long time is the product Keto Krate. We've all seen these box services, Matt, you know, your loot crates, your what-haves. You know, usually stuff comes to your house in a box. You think it's really cool for a minute, but then you don't care in a couple days.
And it gets put in a drawer and you never remember about it.
Exactly. Not until the next one comes. Keto Krate, thankfully, delivers a bunch of stuff that you can use to your house every month, and it's all delicious keto snacks and drinks and stuff that, you know, is stuff that helps kickstart your ketosis and helps with the weight loss and everything. And not only do we have a link and not only do we get to tell you about it, but we also have a discount code for all of you. So if you use our link and you use our discount code, not only do you get a Keto Krate, not only do you get it for $5 off, but you really help Matt, myself, and the channel.
You do, yeah. It's some really great stuff in there. As I said at the top of this, there is some stuff in those boxes that I can actually just go to the shop and buy. They have like really cool like cookies and stuff in there that are super good, and they're good for you as well.
Absolutely. Got the keto brownies there. You got all the different sorts of keto drink mixes and everything. The code, for those wondering, I'm sure I'll get Matt to flash it up on the screen here because I know I'm going to mess it up and say it wrong. But yes, that's Keto Krate Brenton XOXO. So,
yeah, I'm definitely putting that up on the screen.
This is their first time actually sponsoring shows. If they had talked to me before, I'd be like, actually, you know, usually you let the people who are doing it pick a thing related to the channel, so I could be like, Keto Joel, Caped Keto Joel, use that. But no, we'll be sure Matt flashes that up on the screen. Check those out. You'll get something nice. You'll get to help out the show. And honestly, I just love that our keto story has been so well told that now an actual company wanted to reach out and talk to us. So that feels really good.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I know lots of people have been asking me on Twitter, like, hey, Joel, yeah, you dropped a lot of weight. What do I do? Where do I start? You can start here.
Yeah, keto is probably one of the easiest things you can actually start because it's just normal food. You just basically cut bread and like sugars out of your diet. It's super easy.
Bread, sugar, potatoes, the whole deal. And like, here's the thing. When I do go to a restaurant and like when I do go away, you bet I'm getting, you know, French fries and cake and everything else. And they taste better because, you know, I've been denying myself for that long that when I do have a cheat day and when I do have a splurge, it feels awesome.
It does, yeah. It's a little treat.
It's like the food version of edging yourself. Oh, these French fries all over the place. I remember when I went to Philadelphia and they're like, can you eat this stuff, Joe? I'm like, not at all. I will have two, please. My diet only works when I am in the borders of Ontario. As soon as I leave, it's all bets are off. Yeah, that's a great way to support the channel. And again, I really got to start doing this at the beginning of every month. I always say I'm going to, but then I don't. Before we had ads, everybody, it was the great patrons that obviously kept the lights on, kept this ship going. And we had so many new patrons this month for the month of August. I thought it was only right that I should actually read their names.
Yeah.
So, big thanks to Jose, Stanley, Kyle, and Roseblade. Thank you guys so much. They are our brand new $5 patron levels. Very much appreciated. And again, hey, if you want a shout out or want your name read, that's something you can do by checking out Patreon. Now, I know Patreon isn't exactly everyone's favorite right now, and I agree, because they've changed a bunch of their rules, and now they get a bigger cut of everyone's money, and that fucking sucks. So if you're one of the many people, and I know many people did leave at the beginning of this month, no, I harbor you, no ill will. I totally get it. I'd probably have done the same if the situation was reversed. But if you are a patron, we will continue to keep taking care of you and keep bringing content there first and foremost. Naturally, you get the audio and visual. That's not a fucking word. You get the visual version of the show. I've also uploaded a brand new project, Capes and Quests, which reached its endpoint. I got them all uploaded this week as well. So if you were a patron, your cup runneth over. And if you're not, that's fine too. There's lots of other ways to support us. Just watching us is always great and appreciated. Matt and I both have coffee pages now as well, because, it's a little bit like Patreon, but a little bit easier to handle, and they don't take as big a cut. And we have sponsors now, so if you like the show and you want to help out, that's certainly a way you can do it. Yeah, Never expected, always appreciated.
We got to get those, NASCAR uniforms with all, the different sponsors all over it.
Oh, man, if you send me a patch, I will patch it onto my vest, and I will just wear it all the time. Hell yeah, I'll do that. But everyone, believe it or not, we are a comic book podcast, and we actually have some comic book news this week.
We do.
So I guess let's start from the beginning here. Great Capullo re-signed with DC Comics this week in a pretty big move. As soon as he re-signed too, he was sure to mention that him and Scott Snyder have another big project coming down the pipeline, and they promise it'll be their biggest project yet.
That's big words, considering what they've been doing just recently with the stuff like Last Night on Earth and what Scott Snyder's been doing in Justice League.
Oh yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
I don't think it's going to be Batman related, because I think Last Night on Earth is meant to be their last story.
Because it very much feels like it, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think, what could they possibly do next?
Superman.
Superman. Yeah. Put them on.
They done Batman. They can move on to Superman.
He did a little Superman there. Superman Unbound or Superman Unchained. Unchained. So Snyder has done a little Superman, but I get the feeling we're going to see a lot of books moved around.
Yeah, I could see it also being just a DC Universe book, or a Justice League thing.
Maybe something horror, because they both clearly seem to have a love and affinity for horror.
Yeah, it could be Swamp Thing.
That would be fun. People forget that he wrote Swamp Thing at the beginning of the New 52, and Swamp Thing ain't doing shit right now.
Yeah, he's doing stuff with Scott Snyder's doing stuff with the American Vampire stuff, isn't he, as well?
He is. He loves his American Vampire. Could be something vampire-like. Although the I Vampire guy is going to be on that Gotham Monsters team, so I don't know.
Okay.
There's places he could go. I'd love to see him resurrect Animal Man, talk about another guy who's not doing anything at the moment, and who, when last we saw him, had a real horror bent to him.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Make him, cool and relevant again.
Again, yeah. People forget Animal Man actually enjoyed a nice resurgence at the beginning of the New 52, when that and the Swamp Thing book were sister books.
Yeah, and then he kind of just petered off and just doesn't appear anymore.
No, and I feel like people have such reverence for Animal Man because of Grant Morrison. No one wants to touch the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're well, there's no way you're going to top Coyote Gospel. There's no way you can come back from, and then the character talks to the writer. Hey, maybe something New Gods related, maybe. Because if DC's serious about doing New God projects.
That's true, though. I feel more Tom King will be on those sorts of things, because he's doing that movie, he's done Mr. Miracle, all that sort of stuff.
Well, I think he would be too busy for it, but who knows?
Yeah.
It would be hilarious if they're like, okay, Tom King's off Batman. Who can we possibly get to fill the void now? Who can we possibly get to fix stuff? Hey, Greg, Scott, do you guys want to come back?
Have this dump truck full of money.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're like, oh, that would be creatively stagnant and stepping back. We told our story. We said what we wanted to say. And, now we're doing other things. We're doing, Last Night on Earth and Justice League. Oh, that's a big truckload of money.
Yeah, come and undo all this bullshit.
To which I'm sure they both look at each other. I got kids, man. College is expensive, man. What's Bruce doing this week? So the owls, right?
Yeah, they came back because of Perpetua and the multiverse and the dark multiverse and...
No, that's silly. We can't do owls again. People are expecting that. So the Club of Pelicans are also a secret group in Gotham, and
they swallow everything, and
yeah. And it's dark and Lovecraftian, and they wear Slender Man suit. Okay, look, see, now it's easy. Wow, you had pros? This shit's easy. But yeah, whatever they end up doing together, I'm sure it'll be great. I mean, really, Capullo and Snyder, the greatest comic book duo of our generation. I'm trying to think of another power team that's on their level. Probably Lemire and Sorrentino.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would put them up there. They'd be at least in the top 2.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of creators who work together that much and are such a knock it out of the park type of team.
Does Hickman and Pepe Larraz work together? I'm sure they've worked together on other books that Hickman has written.
I think they have, but I don't think they're regular partners though.
Okay.
I would say maybe Gleason and Tomasi, but that was really only one run.
Yeah. And they were both writers and artists.
That's true. They both did the duty. But hey, that's why it was cool too, because they shared on stuff like that. Yeah, that feels like a topic for another episode. Who are the greatest comic book creative duos? I mean, obviously, Stan and Jack Kirby are up there at the top, naturally.
Yep, Stan. George Perez, he basically pulled both art and writing duties.
Wolfman Perez, there you go. That's Titans
Wolfman.
as you know it.
Yep.
You could also have Stan and probably a few other of his art guys as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ditko, obviously. Stan and Ditko are certainly up there as well for a whole other side of things. Claremont, obviously, and all the people he's worked with over the years. That one certainly stands up there as a creative duo. Yeah, I feel like that's a topic for another video there. Yeah, who are the greatest power couple creators? But we have other stuff to talk about. From the world of comics to the world of television, Marvel Television announced this week that they plan to produce content for Disney Plus, including Marvel TV shows. And again, some people are scratching their heads and well, what's the difference? S.H.I.E.L.D. was Marvel TV, and a lot of that other stuff was Marvel TV.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused with the Marvel Disney stuff that you had going on, like The Falcon and Loki and WandaVision and all these other shows you're getting.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. I'm intrigued to see because after this upcoming season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's finished.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see if we get a spin-off off of that or some a character from there. I'd really like that show that they were pitching, that Most Wanted show with Mockingbird and that other guy. I'd like that to make a reappearance in this.
Same. It feels so weird they never picked that up.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Those are really loved characters. Everyone really liked them. And
they gave them such a send-off.
Yeah. The episode that they got sent off is they're going off to their own show, guys. See you over there.
This also means Loeb will have to work with Kevin Feige and everyone else. And I'm it sounds like he was the one who wasn't liked, that he was the black sheep on this one. And will any of these shows connect with anything else, or will this also be another instance of scheduling? The scheduling we just can't get. But all those other shows scheduled just fine.
Well, I would imagine because they're sort of coming under the one banner, the scheduling wouldn't be such a big problem now.
You'd hope so.
I could see why it was when they was kind of split, I could understand that. But yeah, I imagine now, especially with Kevin Feige on board, like, he could probably beat them into line.
Because I don't want to see a future where it's like, okay, you got all these Marvel shows on here on the app, but you don't have to watch the Loeb ones, though, because they're not actually going to connect to the movies. He just gets to play in the sandbox.
They're in the Loeb section.
The Loeb section, the Loeb box. Hey, don't touch that. That's Loeb bearing. Oh, you touched it. But interesting stuff. Also, too, some more geeky news to come out off the back of that piece of news is that Disney, for their apps, is also planning more Planet of the Apes content, as well as a remake of Home Alone.
Oh, really? A remake of Home Alone? They didn't cancel that? Because I know they cancelled, like this last week, we got like a list of like all the shit they cancelled, and there is some shit in there. They wanted to make a Sims movie.
Okay.
A Sims movie.
Again, I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous. And then I'm like, get the Spider-Verse guys on there, get Lord and Miller. And
make it really, really meta.
Yeah, make
people
it all
jumping
about
into pools and drowning because they can't get out and shit.
You would need a regular person sent to the world of The Sims and how hellish it is, and make it all about
horror film.
Ooh, see, Matt, look, we should
People
work in Hollywood.
Trapped behind walls and having and babies being stuck in closets and stuff. And
who is this cruel, vengeful god that keeps doing this? It's just some bored dude on his lunch break. See, Matt, we just wrote an amazing horror movie. Fuck that banana splits bullshit. This is where it's at. You know who had the best reaction of them remaking potentially Home Alone?
What?
Macaulay Culkin on Twitter. He just took a picture of himself at his laptop with like his gut out, sitting there in his underwear smoking a cigarette, where it's like, yeah, this is your Home Alone sequel reboot right here.
I'd like to see him do that. I'd like to see him do a like him and the guys from Red Letter Media.
Yeah, just all in a house. Ooh, Rich Evans and those other guys, they're the ones trying to break into Macaulay Culkin's mansion. And he has to stop them, but he's an adult now and he has a gun. And then it becomes a horror movie. Then it becomes like The Guest.
Yeah, it becomes, The Guest or The Collector or something.
Or some shit like that. Like, whoa, you guys really picked the wrong house to try and break into. There's a lot of ways you could go at that. Man, I love that Macaulay Culkin has become this weird comedy figure online, like this basically living self-aware meme.
It's great.
Yeah, like I was that kid from that movie, remember? Now look at me. That again, I think they just need to remake it just because there needs to be a scene where it's like, oh, we got our new security company contractor, and it's an adult Macaulay Culkin naturally, and he's passing the torch to the next Home Alone kid.
Yeah. And one of the Home Alone kids will be one of the kids from Stranger Things, because, of course, they will be.
Naturally. Finn Wolfhard will be that kid.
Yeah.
He's every kid USA. It can be him. Why not? Or maybe we should make... I was going to say maybe we should make it 11, because I don't think... Because, that would be a very, modern-day twist now. Where it's like, why does it have to be a boy? Why can't it be a girl Home Alone? And then I'm like, I think they actually did do a girl Home Alone at one point.
I want to say, one of the many sequels...
Or am I thinking Karate Kid?
I know Karate Kid 2 or 3 was a woman.
Yeah, with a young Hilary Swank or something.
Yeah. They probably did it in one of the unnamed sequels that just got shipped into a Walmart bargain bin or something.
That's the thing people forget. It's like, look, there's the 3 Home Alone movies you know about. Then there's all the direct-to-DVD shit that they did over the years, and like the straight-to-Hallmark Channel shit that they wanted to turn into like a TV series. I'm like, how the fuck could this be a TV series?
Yeah, exactly.
Just people trying to break into this kid's house every day of the week?
Every week.
God damn. And the parents don't believe him? That's not a hellish scenario. Where no one believes this kid, they think he's got schizophrenia, that people are breaking into his house. Oh shit, you see, that's how you update it. I watched that Rocco's Modern Life thing on Netflix, and basically the whole meta premise of that was if you're gonna remake a beloved thing from the 90s, you better sure as hell have something new and different to say, because if not, what is even the point?
Yeah.
What is our new and different take on Home Alone? How do we make it different, Matt? How do we change it?
I don't know. How do you
maybe
change, because the premise is just so simple.
Yeah.
Kid just gets stuck home alone while his parents fly off somewhere.
Yeah. Again, what's the modern day version of kids forgetting, or of parents forgetting their kid? They forget him on Twitter.
They forget him in their Uber.
Ah, there
and
you go.
And the Uber driver kidnaps him or something.
Yeah,
set in a car.
Oh, Home Alone, but also in a car for a generation of people who live in their car. They're the invisible homeless, you know. Yeah, I feel like what's the twist on that? Like, okay, maybe it's an apartment instead of a house, or I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, how would you do that? And especially in this day and age when, like, you could just hop on Facebook and it's like, hey, I'm home alone, help.
Yeah, I know, right? The whole technology issue really ruins that film and all. Every kid's got a cell phone now. Yo, you motherfuckers forgot me. What the hell?
They'll do some shitty thing. It's like, there was a storm and it knocked out the power.
Or, yeah. Or, you know, you could really... They would never do this because this would actually be a serious version of the movie and they want it to be like a heartwarming family Christmas film. Do what they did with Rough Night and be it like, look, like new Macaulay Culkin's like, I can't call the cops. I have small amounts of drugs. And this is America.
I have cocaine in these baggies and I can't call the cops.
Exactly. Oh, that's the thing. You see, his parents were secretly drug dealers, and that's why those guys are trying to break in. That's literally the only way you could update that shit, or move it to a place, or to a sort of person who's like, okay, what's my reason for why I can't just call the cops in this scenario?
Yeah.
Wow, that's way more thought put into this Home Alone remake than the people actually making it are going to actually put into it. The Planet of the Apes thing is pretty interesting, too, because I really loved that last trilogy, and I'm excited at the idea of them to do more, but also, like, they kind of did it perfectly in 3 movies.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that, like, if they were to do more movies, they'd have to do, like, a big time jump, and it'd be, like, closer, like, getting closer to, like, the Charlton Heston, like, far future sort of stuff.
You know what we can do? We can rip off X-Men right now and say, look, the apes are almost to where they were going to be in Roddy McDowell time. They're wearing clothes, they're walking upright now, they're breaking horses and learning to use more guns and everything. But we find out there's actually a human space station out there who comes down to Earth and, again, also assumes that they're on an alien planet and tries to make peace with the apes, but obviously shit goes awry because why not?
Yeah.
And so it's like, look, this isn't their first time, you know, interacting with humans. Or you could go the other way, too, and be like, look, so we know from Planet of the Apes 2, there's actually a bunch of mutants who live underground. Like, not all the humans are dead. Some just got horribly mutated. Mm-hmm. So maybe monkey versus mutant.
Yeah, you could do that. I'm wondering if they will do, like, a full film where there aren't any humans.
Yeah.
Like, because the last one kind of was, but there still was that human element there. With crazy Gary Oldman and whatnot. But
crazy Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if they will do that, like, and just use like Andy Serkis and whoever else is Toby Kebbell, all those guys back again, to just do like a full on like ape film.
Well, you know, Matt, that's a really good place for a segue. Andy Serkis might not be able to reprise that role because apparently he got a crazy new gig. He's going to be directing Venom 2? What?
What? I feel like he probably will still do Planet of the Apes because that character means so much to him.
It is him. It wouldn't have been as good without him.
Yeah. What? Just what?
It's interesting. It's an interesting pick. Maybe they're hoping that people like Andy Serkis enough that, you know, this will carry his goodwill on top of it. And they're thinking like, oh, maybe the Venom suit capture will be really great because Andy Serkis is involved.
Yeah, let Andy Serkis do that.
Yeah, like, is this also a Lord and Miller thing too? Because apparently they're overseeing all the Sony Spider-Man stuff. Is them being like, take a chance on Serkis.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued to see what he will do because he's rather a new director. He's only directed like one big thing, and that was that Mowgli film that like no one really remembers about it, and it had like a really good cast.
Yeah, no one saw Mowgli because it came out too close to that other Jungle Book thing.
Yeah, and it was a Netflix film.
And it was a Netflix original too. I remember that. I remember passing over. I'm like, I should watch this, and then I proceeded to not watch it.
Yeah, I like watched like 80% of it. And I was like, yeah, I know this story.
Isn't it like really serious and violent? Isn't that like the new angle they take with it?
Yeah.
That's not a great angle. Making
No.
things more serious and violent. I don't know why that's everyone's go-to every time. But yeah, hey, more power to Andy Serkis. If he can hammer a good movie out of that, then I will give him a round of applause.
Yeah, I'm hoping. As you said, like the motion capture and everything should be pretty damn good. Like, hopefully,
You would hope so.
I would hope so. But yeah, because like that first one was. Ugh.
Yeah, tell me about it. Some more Marvel news here. Hulu's Ghost Rider and Helstrom shows have now been rebranded as Adventures into Fear.
Cool.
Sounds very much like an old-timey Marvel Comics imprint, doesn't it? Like, Journey into Mystery, Adventures into Fear.
Yeah, that's really cool. So does that mean like both those shows will be airing at the same time as like a half of each? Like,
yeah, like
how
a
does that
block
work?
or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. They haven't explained it yet. They also say there's more to come in this Adventures into Fear line.
Yeah, maybe that's like their version of like phases, where it's like Adventures into Fear presents Ghost Rider.
Right. And then you can do Journey into Mystery, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm interested in it. I'm happy to have Gabriel Luna back, and hey, Hellstorm should be interesting.
Yeah.
Even though the premise of that show sounds very much like the same paranormal detective shows we've been getting for like 20 years now.
Yeah. They all fall into that same category.
The genre that Constantine helped codify, and yet what he himself could not survive.
It's ironic.
Ain't that some shit? Constantine is to the paranormal detective genre what John Carter of Mars is to science fiction.
Yeah, he's the Hydrox to their Oreos.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, so that's that news. What else do we have here? Ooh, here's something near and dear to us, because it, lets us tick a bunch of boxes for things we don't like. Brett Booth apparently came under fire today on Twitter when he lashed out at a bunch of fans who were unhappy that he was going to be drawing that Wally West flash forward book.
Okay, I'm familiar with his work, but why are they upset that he is drawing it?
Because he's the sort of person who lashes out at people on Twitter, and when they complained about that, he proceeded to lash out at them on Twitter. Thereby proving their point that he is a hothead and a rage case. and like, I think I followed him once upon a time, but stopped, which means he must have said or did something to make me stop doing that. But yeah, this book, as someone brought up, so let me get this straight. So, spinning out of an event that everyone hated in Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah.
Trying to repair the legacy of a hero that you dragged through the mud for seemingly no reason. Being written by Scott Lobdell, a writer that most people do not like, and who has had a death grip on Red Hood and the Outlaws forever, seemingly only because he's friends with Bob Harris, the VP of DC.
Mm-hmm. And has written Speedsters before, and not very well.
And who has written Speedsters before, but not well, has written Teen Titans affiliated characters, and not well. But now he gets to write this book, seemingly because no one else wanted it.
Yeah, no one wanted that stink.
No one wanted that hot potato, and being drawn by Brett Booth, a guy who apparently is a very prickly pear, if you will.
Yes, yeah. I'm intrigued to see what this book exactly like. I'm intrigued to see what the numbers will be on this book, sales wise, because on one hand you get the people that like don't want it, but then on the other hand you get those people that are like, oh my god, I can't wait, we're getting a Wally book, that will just buy it because it's got Wally on it.
Yeah, I feel comfortable skipping this one, is what I do.
When's it come out? It's pretty
soonish,
soon.
I think.
Yeah, like end of September or something.
Yeah, early October, end of September. Funny, too, while we're on the Lobdell thing, a bunch of people tweeted this at me here. Something that Lobdell did that seemingly flew under the radar.
Oh,
apparently he's working on a Kickstarter with, that dude from Rat Queens who hit his wife?
Oh no.
Why is Scott Lobdell so Teflon? Why does he keep doing bad things and getting away with them endlessly? That's not even mentioning all the multiple cases of sexual harassment that have been brought towards him as well.
He's one of those old guys that have like all his friends are in like higher jobs now, like Bob Harris and everything. So like he can get away with it, though he shouldn't.
Yeah. It's like, I don't respect anything about the man, but you have to respect the fact that nothing sticks to him. He's created just such a black hole of bullshit that nothing actually escapes it.
Yeah, it's even weirder when you think like in this day and age where like a tweet from 10 years ago can get someone kicked off a film and stuff like that. Whereas like it's like he's literally doing this stuff like now,
right now,
and he's still getting, and he's given more books because of it.
It's like if you set the bar so criminally low, then no one will ever expect you to clear it. Again, he's almost carved out a perfect niche for himself, and that is he only sells to people who are fans of him anyway, doesn't really try and get anyone else, and apparently that's just enough to keep Red Hood going.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine like, Red Hood is like skating by just enough to warrant it to be kept going and everything. Because I never hear about that book at all.
No, and it never crosses over with anything.
No.
The biggest thing is Leviathan, and you know that was more Bendis swinging his dick around, be like, I want to use Jason for this. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
We're paying you $30,000 an issue, I guess we have to.
Did you hear what happened with the recent Superman book?
No, what happened?
This is kind of like another bit of news. So it got released with like a Year of the Villains cover. And then not too long ago, sometime this week, DC sent out like a thing is like, hey, destroy all those copies of Superman and Supergirl because the cover doesn't reflect what happens. And I'm like, really? Now you give a shit about that sort of stuff? And it's getting a new cover and everything now. So I don't know whether that actually pushes the book back or what happens with that.
Well, I think it does because there hasn't been a new Superman in a while.
Yeah, it's the issue coming up. So issue 13 or 14. So yeah, it was just super strange that like they decided to give a shit about what happens on a cover when like you get comics that like have shit on covers that is definitely not indicative of what's in the book.
I could name 7 this week with misleading covers. Yeah, why do you suddenly start caring now? That's strange. Comedy.
It's strange.
That's pure comedy there. Oh, we can't have these. They don't reflect the story. That's fine. Push back Superman. I could use a break from Superman. Like, literally, every time I pick it up, I'm like, man, this isn't even fun bad anymore. like Batman, where it's like, oh my god, what is he gonna do next? I have no clue.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, he was hitting the head with a horse.
Yeah, really. But with Bendis Superman, it's like, so he's just gonna keep telling us the same information every issue now, huh?
Or have Jor-El just skirt the important questions by going, look over there. Look over there.
It's a space whale. It's a snare beast. But that was the news this week, everyone. We actually talked about news this week. Ain't that something?
We did, yes.
What do we win, Matt? Give us a cookie. We want a cookie. Man, I'd like a cookie. But I can't have them right now, so I guess we can hop into what we read this week, and it was a decent-sized week, all things considered. We had at least 2 really big ones.
Yeah, 2 really big ones, although most comics this week were pretty good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Where would you like to start, Matt?
Well, hold on. Let's start with House of X issue 2.
Oh yes, the series that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and more mind-bendy.
Yeah, and big dick Jonathan Hickman, you know, flashing that dick around and like getting X-Men continuity into order, basically.
Oh yeah. Man, he needs to wear that on a jacket right now. Big dick Jonathan Hickman.
Hey, he probably does.
Somewhere he's got it tattooed on his chest. So no one will forget. But yeah, man, talk about introducing huge science fiction concepts, making it the backbone of your story, making it make sense, and also having people get really super stoked about it.
Yeah, it's like the perfect storm. And again, he's making the X-Men cool again and interesting, and like must read.
I'm seeing so many new comic fans in my video,
Yeah.
and it warms
Yeah.
my heart that that for once the hype was actually worth it, and people are taking notice and actually getting excited and picking it up for the first time.
Yeah, and again, this issue was building off the stuff we saw in issue 1, and kind of like Powers of X sort of stuff as well, where we see Moira McTaggart, who's kind of been redone in this new continuity, and she's a mutant, and she has the power.
Now, yes, big retcon.
She has the power to... She dies, and she is reborn again, but when she's reborn, she retains all the information and knowledge of her past life.
She has the power of Groundhog Day, is what she has.
Yeah, but more or less. So that makes her like one of the smartest people in the universe, as well as one of like the strongest mutants, I guess.
Functionally immortal, all things considered. And I love how they explain where it's like, well, how the fuck did no one know she had this power before? Because it's an invisible mutation. She's fundamentally human until she dies.
Yeah. And we see her sort of learn about her power, as well as learn about Charles Xavier, and she goes to try and meet him, and there's certain things that happen that kind of stop that. First there's a plane crash, so she has to go back and live another life, and eventually she meets him, and she finds that he's kind of an arrogant asshole.
Which I love that, because all we knew about Moira before this is that they were engaged to be married before, and they had a son, Proteus. So I love the idea that's like, no, I thought he sucked in our first meeting.
And because of that, she wants to cure her mutation and mutations of everyone else, and that leads her to meet Destiny, who I'm just going to go out and say is probably like a Moira from a future or something.
Ooh, that would be a big
Or
retcon,
or a daughter of hers or something.
Because, like, Destiny's been around for a while. People forget Destiny was actually very involved with the original Days of Future Past story. It's just she's written out of every adaptation of that story. She's the one who's like, yo, Days of Future Past incoming. And everyone's like, thanks, Destiny. I do love that she is basically Moira McTaggart's kryptonite, where she's like, bitch, I can see the future, but with you, I can see multiple futures all at once. You think you're a goddamn Highlander, but you're not. You've got 10, maybe 11 lives in you.
Yeah, and you've already wasted a couple of them, so you either help your species, help the mutants thrive and live, or kill them, and some lives you'll be used by the humans to kill them, and others you won't, and everything. So Moira's got like this task of like, is she gonna help the mutants? Is she gonna go against them?
The Destiny bit is great too, because she's like, and look, and if you do piss us off, I will feel the change in the future, and I will kill you when you're a baby before your powers manifest.
Yeah, which means you're done. No respawns.
No respawns. And I'm like, holy shit, I forgot that, like, Destiny and Mystique, yeah, they're, like, more evil than Magneto some of the time, aren't they? Because Magneto has certain ideals, but Mystique has zero ideals.
Oh, yeah. She's in it for herself and in it to survive, so she'll do whatever the fuck it takes. And Pyro's there as well.
Man, maybe the coolest thing Pyro's done in, like, 20 years, where it's like, burn her alive slow so she knows how it feels to die. And he's like, alright.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. And then after that, she commits her life to like science and learning about the mutants and the cures and stuff like that. She eventually falls in love with Xavier because she sees past his arrogance to who he is.
Yeah.
And
as she was supposed to originally.
Yeah, and then that leads them through the life of where she sees the X-Men and all the different decades.
Eras,
Yeah, they reference all the decades as well, which is really cool.
The heroic age, the school age. I love that they call the last decade of X-Men stories, the one we just came out of, the Lost Era.
Yeah, I like that. It's like, maybe it's continuity, maybe it's not.
It works on so many levels, because it's like, oh yeah, they were lost because, the Phoenix Force and Cyclops killed Xavier, and they were so lost after that. Yeah, they were also lost in the tug of war between Disney and Fox for movie rights, and so, like, nothing happened over that decade. And it's great that they choose the Phoenix stuff to be, like, the poster child for the lost decade. I'm like, oh, I noticed you didn't, do anything from, like, the 5 years of shit Bendis wrote. Yeah, shocking that when it came time to codify that, it's like, what about time-traveling X-Men? That didn't fucking happen.
Yeah, fuck that.
That's a minor footnote. That didn't happen. Nothing happened after Cyclops killed Xavier.
Yeah, they just like stood around. It was weird. Everyone knew, no one knew what was happening. They just like shut off.
Which I guess when you stop and think about it, yeah, that was kind of the last time shit really mattered, and there was really big like ripple effects in X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Which good on Hickman for paring it down to there. It's like, when was the last thing that actually mattered? Oh, this was the last thing that actually mattered.
Yeah. So yeah, she sees all that, but then eventually what Destiny said would happen, the humans would come for them, happened, and the Sentinels ended up killing her and Xavier, so she gets reborn. And I think that's then the time where she decides to meet him like 10 years earlier or something, isn't it?
Yes, and then
like,
they build a mutant city.
Yeah, that she like radicalizes him to her ideals and stuff, and they end up building not Genoa, like Genosha, in like this dome, which still ends up getting attacked.
They, as Sal on Comic Pop said, they basically become the Inhumans with their own shielded city that they don't let anyone else into.
Basically, and then after that, she goes after Bolivar Trask's family and just like murders them off the face of the earth.
Which, man, that's a mini series I want to see. Reverse Terminator with Moira McTaggart killing all the guys who are going to build the robots, only to have that horrible realization of, oh fuck, AI theory is just something that's just going to happen. The Sentinels are like Judgment Day, they're already etched in time.
I love the piece of dialogue there. Is like all she did was remove Trask as the first human to ever kill mutants. And because of she's done that, she made AI be the first thing to build up these Sentinels and just wipe out mutants. I thought that was pretty cool.
The singularity happens sooner. Nimrod creates the Sentinels, and yeah, that's really crazy shit. I love they've put this Terminator spin on it, where it's like, oh well, who of the two species will war against each other forever? Who are natural enemies? Oh well, mutants and robots.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones who are going to be left at the end of the world, which is so hilarious. That's like, no, humans, you're all fucked. You're all going to be dead. It's going to be mutants and robots at the end of the day.
Yeah. She goes to Magneto, or she decides, fuck Xavier for this life. I'm going Magneto. I'm going to go, like, tell him evil Nazi people making robots will radicalize him.
New Holocausts of the future, and Eric being so impulsive that he is, it's like, grr, I'm gonna destroy Washington and launch the nukes, you can't stop me. To which the X-Men and the entire Avengers hero community is like, actually, we can totally stop you. Because you're one crazy asshole, we can totally stop you.
Yeah, she goes then to Apocalypse and decides, like, well,
she becomes a horseman.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. She decides to just force evolution, basically. And it's like survival of the fittest sort of thing. But that doesn't even work because, again, the fucking Sentinel machine AI shit attacks and she's caught in this never-ending war.
Still freaking robots in the future. Always bet on robots, apparently. That's an amazing image, though, to see Apocalypse just punching the shit out of Nimrod. I'm like, how have we never seen that fight? That's a cool-ass fight.
And we might even get, like, more of that, because Nimrod's in, obviously, Powers of X, so we could see more of that.
We could, and Apocalypse is seemingly a good guy now, and he's going to be on Excalibur.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's some cool-ass shit. Man, I love this, like, epic game of Groundhog Day where every plan works. All right, fuck it, this lifetime I'm gonna do this. All right, fuck it, I'm gonna do this now. But we don't get to see her sixth life. Her sixth life is missing.
Yeah, maybe that might be in one of those books.
Might be in one of the books. Might be the universe as we know it. I've seen a lot of theories as to what that sixth life could have been.
Yeah, it could be heaps of different things. Maybe that was hidden from her or something.
It's true. Maybe Xavier's like, oh, I gotta like psychically block this life off from you.
That's too hardcore.
Cannot be allowed to remember. That's too. Ooh, that's Triple X. That life. We gotta get rid of that one. That's the movie Triple X with Vin Diesel. We gotta get rid of that one. Yeah, there's lots of places they could go. It's hard to believe with one little change they've completely rewritten the X-Men's history.
Yeah, and for the better as well. It's so much more accessible now. Like things make sense.
And what a great character to do this with, to give this kind of problem. I feel like a lesser writer would have been like, meh, give it to Wolverine. He's immortal anyway.
Yeah, Wolverine or like Rogue or someone like that.
But to elevate someone like Moira McTaggart and be like, hey, you know this minor character who always came back? What if she was the most important character ever?
Well, that's the thing, like, at the end of the book, she's kind of the one that kind of puts the idea of Krakoa in Xavier's head, and is kind of like
she
the one
incepts
behind it all and everything. That's good.
Yeah,
that's
she
awesome.
she seemingly incepts the idea. And also, if she incepts the idea, where is she now?
Maybe she's
What
in,
is she?
in Xavier. Maybe she is Xavier.
Maybe she takes the helmet off and it's actually Moira. Wouldn't put that past them. Also, where is her kid with Xavier? Where is Proteus?
Yeah, has that happened yet? Has that happened in one of her lives? Maybe that's the 6th life.
Exactly. What's the deal? Like, that's pretty big, the fact that Proteus is her and Xavier's kid, so that's got to be something.
Yeah.
God, has any of the X-Men books referenced Proteus in forever? I think people like Proteus because they remember the cartoon.
Yeah, I honestly can't think of any, mainly because I haven't read many X-Men books lately, but I have to think they haven't.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will tell us, and don't be shocked if we see him again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so X-Men continues to kick a lot of ass. It's the most must-read book on the shelf right now.
Definitely. You can't go wrong with it. We've had 3 issues of both series so far, and it's so good.
It is genuinely required reading. Mm-hmm. X-Men is cool again. X-Men is accessible again.
Yep.
Check this out. Even if you only have a passing knowledge of X-Men, because don't worry, Big Dick Hickman literally has graphs and charts for you to read along with.
Yes. More so in, like, this one I think had the most so far, because we had, like, the charts with the timelines and everything and all that sort of stuff. Like, you don't get that in other books. It's great.
No. Man, when they collect this, and I know I'm not the only one who's been saying this, they really need to collect these 2 books in the proper reading order, in the way you were supposed to read it as they were coming out. Because if they put it any other way, it's not going to make any fucking sense.
I would have to imagine they're going to do, like, a House of X and Powers of X trade, but then do, like, I guess an omnibus, which is both of them in reading order.
Yeah. As someone pointed out to me, something kind of hilarious there, when you put like the acronyms for all of them together, House of X and Powers of X, it's Hawks and Pox.
This is his end game. This is Hickman's end game.
It's a pox on all people. You see, the Hawks come and they bring the pox to the mutants. I was putting you in a box. You didn't see it until it was too late. And the Hawks and the Pox in their box, owned by Fox.
Oh, no.
This was his elevator pitch that blew everyone's mind.
Yeah, everyone's like, we don't understand it, but it sounds cool.
But it sounds fucking brilliant. Let's do it. And of course, you know, that was just one of the big Marvel comics that came out this week. The other one was Absolute Carnage. Absolute.
It was, and I actually read this one and reviewed it.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah, which it's funny, you know, I've been saying for so long, I've been proselytizing how great Venom is. In a way, I've been my own prophet of Null, talking about how great it is, trying to convert you to it. And in the end, you really didn't need to, because they catch you up in the first page.
Yeah, I was like, going into it, I was like, okay, I kind of know the story thanks to Joel and like seeing stuff. I kind of know what's going on, what carnage is going on, so let's hope I don't miss something big there and then get yelled at in my review. But yeah, like that first page just basically is like Eddie talking with Dylan, say like, yeah, so like there's this god and then Carnage is trying to resurrect him by like stealing people's spines and shit.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh, I have a kid now too, in case you haven't picked up a Venom story in forever. But he doesn't know he's my kid yet. I'm telling him he's my little brother. It's probably gonna fuck him up.
Yeah, but I might tell him, but I might not. I don't know how fucked up I want him to be.
Also, hey, Eddie reuniting with the symbiote here, which was broken at the end of the last arc, but got fixed in War of Realms. So again, you didn't even need to know that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it saves him from Carnage almost killing him with a train, which I'm told actually happens in another book where Venom pushes Spider-Man in front of a train, or Carnage pushes Spider-Man in front of a train or something.
In the very first appearance of Eddie Brock as Venom, that's how he tries to kill Peter Parker, by pushing him in front of it. And the frame is even the similar too, where he looks behind him and he's there, and it's just push.
Yeah, that was cool. I like what I'm not really too familiar what's the deal with Cletus Cassidy at the moment. He's a corpse now, isn't he?
Yes,
Yeah.
because he got ripped in half by the Sentry, but then he got taken to an alien planet, then he got thrown back onto Earth, and the symbiote burned up and sacrificed itself to save Cletus, but he still got all fucked up when he hit the ground, and so he was like being kept alive in an iron lung, and then the Cult of Carnage came and took his body, because they're like, oh yeah, Null has, chosen you to be his champion, to be his prophet, and then of course they put the suit back on him, but yeah, he's basically all broken and a corpse inside the suit now.
Yeah, he looks gnarly. He looks so cool.
He looks very gnarly. Again, this whole Venom from the beginning has been a horror series, and I like that this is a horror event starring Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so Eddie sort of figures out what Carnage is doing, so he goes to a person to help him, and that person is Peter Parker.
The only person who could understand, and the only person who knows his identity.
And I like Peter's it's like, really, you're fighting gods now? Like, what happened to, like, criminals and, like, sewer dinosaurs and stuff like that?
All stuff from the original Lethal Protector series, so Cates totally did his homework, and this whole thing is just jam-packed with references. What I thought was cute about that scene, too, is that Eddie is trying really hard to protect Peter's identity as Spider-Man from the kid, so he waits till he leaves before he starts calling him Peter.
Yeah, and I like how the kid, like, views him how, like, JJ does. Like, he's a menace. He doesn't like Spider-Man.
Well, again, if you remember, Dylan's been raised by Eddie's abusive shitheel ex-cop father, who I'm sure listened to the Jameson show like people listen to Fox News endlessly, so I'm sure that's what he's absorbed.
Yeah, and it probably doesn't help that, like, Eddie's his father as well, and Eddie's probably like, yeah, that's Spider-Man, he kills kids.
Yeah, really, just in utero, he absorbed a hatred of Spider-Man. Which, man, when are they going to answer that? The fact that Eddie doesn't actually remember fathering this kid.
Yeah.
And that it's heavily implied the symbiote did it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah, wasn't it like, implied the symbiote somehow had a hand in his birth?
Yes, that it was like immaculate symbiote conception, which I bet you that's going to come into play at the end, where Null's like, no, I want the kid. He's symbiote Jesus.
Yeah, because Venom turkey-based someone.
Yeah, really. Well, the suit turkey based him into that poor woman, which I like. They mention his wife here too, as she was one of the bodies that got dug up, because obviously she was Lady Venom for a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and interesting, they mention General Ross, so it's like, this is obviously after the stuff in Captain America, because like he's dead there, and Carnage dug up his body to like take his spine.
I love they rebury all the bodies in New Jersey. I'm like, man, New Jersey just can't catch a fucking break, can they? Where are we going to put all the corpses in the devil's no, put them in Jersey. Just whenever New Jersey gets mentioned, it's never good. And this all eventually takes them to the Ravencroft Asylum. Or no, actually, no, there's even another big thing before that. What happens before that?
Yeah, so Spider-Man posits that they need a device to extract the Venom DNA that are in these people to make them not targets anymore. And
yeah, the codices.
He says Reed Richards could do it, but not in the time frame they need. So Eddie knows someone else who could do it, and that someone is the Maker.
I love the way they say that, where Spider-Man's like, look, we need someone Reed Richards smart, but we also need someone who would have built a machine to do this like yesterday. And Eddie's like, actually, the Maker tried to steal my costume, actually, in a previous arc, so I know he actually has a machine that can do this.
Yeah, and then we get like a cool little meeting between Peter Parker and this Reed, who I swear they've met before. They probably haven't, but...
People are saying they met during Secret Wars, but I'm like, no, I don't think they did. I think Miles met him because he stowed away on the ship, but no, I don't think Spider-Man ever met the Maker directly.
Yeah, which is strange. They've been like in the same universes for years now, and they haven't met.
They're very weird about where the Maker gets to go and what he gets to do and what characters he gets to interact with. As someone brought up, actually, the Future Foundation book came out this week, and apparently the Future Foundation kids are trying to break the Maker out of jail. So that created a bit of discontinuity, how he can be in two places at once. To which I said, well, maybe one of the Makers isn't real. Maybe one is a clone or a robot or something.
Yeah, or someone masquerading as the Maker.
Yeah. Then again, people also think that Charles Xavier is the Maker now because of the helmet, and I'm like, no, that's too obvious. He can't be in three places at once. That's just silly.
Yeah, so yeah, he has built the machine, and he's building it in this safe house for him. And Eddie's not too pleased with it because he wants the symbiote, and Maker's just like, yeah, look, our goals kind of align here, so I'll help you, and then maybe turn against you a little later on.
Yeah, I'm still half a good guy under here.
Yeah, so he builds the machine, and he wants to use Howie Osborn.
Yeah, I really like that, calling back from Dan Slott's run, and the fact that, yeah, he was Kid Carnage for a second.
Yeah, a very hot second. So yeah, Peter's brought his godson to him to use it, and they don't want him to be put into this machine that may or may not work or may not kill him. So they're like,
yeah.
We'll go get someone else. And the Maker knows exactly who to get, and he's like, I wonder who they'll get. Wink, wink.
What's hilarious about that moment, too, is like, oh, we need someone who has a symbiote who we don't care if they die and go through the machine. I'm surprised no one brings up, Peter, you had a symbiote. You were like the first to have a symbiote. Why don't you offer to go through the... Shut up. That's why I'm not offering to go through the machine. Because I need to live.
I left my my washing machine running. I can't abandon it,
I just paid for a month of Netflix. I can't.
Yeah. So they end up going to Ravencroft, where they intend to break out Norman Osborn.
Who's been there since the end of the Slott run.
Yes. And they intend to use him for this machine, and they get help from John Jameson's son.
The Man-Wolf.
Yeah, the Man-Wolf, who is an Avenger as well now.
Yes, he's all over the place. He's getting real busy. Little did they know, though, had they read the special Web of Venom Carnage issue, that John Jameson was already corrupted and had already been got to.
Yeah, in Doverton.
Yes, in Doverton, the town from Carnage, USA. So again, we're bringing it all back.
Yeah, so he helps them get in. Meanwhile, Cletus has arrived at the jail and infects everyone with the red goo. And turns all the other crazy inmates into Carnage soldier things.
Yep, because, they weren't dangerous enough.
Yep, and then they end up fighting Eddie and Peter gets slammed into Osborn's cell, and Osborn is just a fucking maniac with a piece of glass.
Osborn thinks he is Cletus now because the Carnage symbiote imprinted on him, and now he thinks he is Cletus.
Yeah, so he's gone fucking insane.
And he was already crazy to begin with.
Yeah, and they end up getting trapped in the cell with him, so they have to try and find a way out, but it never works out. And Carnage comes in and basically infects Norman, takes his spine or something, I guess, and turns him into one of the Carnage creatures.
Which I guess explains why Red Goblin is going to be getting a one-shot soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so crazy issue. Goes to lots of interesting places, lots of great callbacks, really nice kind of culmination of everything Donny Cates has been doing on the Venom book.
Yeah, it's great, and it's also a great, I guess, jumping on point. You might need to know a couple of things, but it does a good job of catching everyone up on it. Ends
up being a really good Spider-Man story too, hilariously.
Yeah.
Man, Donny Cates, maybe when Spencer is done, maybe him and Spencer want to trade. Now I'll write Venom for a bit and you write Spider-Man. But yeah, it's good solid shit.
It is.
Really good art. I think this is some of Stegman's finest art.
It's really nice looking.
It's really, really good looking. What else did we want to talk about after that?
We had... What was it? Batman issue 76.
Do we have to?
Yes, people like it when we do.
You know what? Here's the thing. I can't even summon up the same vitriol that I normally do for this, because this has to be one of the most inconsequential nothing issues in this series in a very long time.
It's shocking that he has less than 10 issues now.
Yep.
To wrap up this arc, and and Tom King just decides, we're gonna have an issue that doesn't fucking matter at all to anything.
Just gonna spin our wheels, reiterate information you already know, and add some new confusing wrinkles in there too. Why not?
Yeah, I said in my review, this is what it's gonna be like for the next probably 8 issues until he decides, we're getting near the end. I'll just start pumping my story out a little bit.
I remember I said when we reviewed the last issue, I'm like, well, City of Bane, yeah, it's got a lot of problems, but, at least there's forward momentum. At least there's things happening now. Clearly, he's feeling the push and the pinch, and, it's like time to kick in the turbos. Yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah, completely wrong.
Just a nothing issue. I think what really sums up to me how much this series has actually gone downhill. One of the issues I really genuinely enjoyed, in fact, I'll even go as far as to say I loved Batman number 23, which was the one with Swamp Thing and Scalp Hunter and everything. That issue had an amazing culmination where they find Scalp Hunter at the museum and he's looking at the painting. I think it's The Tempest. I don't know which one it is, but it's like it's a painting about nature. And, the cruelty and the chaos of nature. And it's a really great scene because you got Swamp Thing there and he's looking at the painting and the painting is clearly telling you where the scene is going to go. And I'm like, wow, how smart and how, well done and artsy that was. This issue has a painting too, but Catwoman literally stops and explains to the reader what the painting means. This is the Lace Maker. It was written by Vermin and I'm like, God damn it.
And the reader, like, in the sense of the book, is like a knocked out, possibly drugged up Bruce Wayne. So it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. We're meant to be like him. just accept it. Just listen.
See, I even thought it was even more so there. It's like, Johannes Vermeer was an interesting artist because back in his day, everyone was drawing epic scenes, but not him. He drew still life, and, it's just so much more beautiful and meaningful. And I'm like, do you think your series is a Vermeer painting? Is that what you're trying to say? That's what this all is? If you're looking for epic things, don't look for it here because this is life, man. This is everyday life with a Batman and a Catwoman and a roided up luchador.
And a Captain Atom and all these things. Let's talk about fucking Captain. A week ago we got like a preview page of that. It's the first page of it where he confronts Gotham Girl, and I said, fucking guarantee you Gotham Girl will make him look like a fucking loser, jobber, idiot. What the fuck does she do? Ding ding. Oh, she does it, and I'm like, how does? And the whole thing is that he's come to Gotham to basically stop Bane and Gotham Girl and basically open up the borders again, so the heroes can come in.
Which is actually kind of interesting that he's going against governmental orders here when he was the big stooge patsy for President Luthor back when that was the thing. And I'm like, and now he's going against it and saying, sometimes a bad order is a bad order. I'm like, that's kind of compelling from a guy like King, who we know had a government job where he had to take a lot of orders. This rubs up against an interesting idea. And he gets his back broken and humbled by Gotham Girl, and none of it fucking mattered.
Yeah, humbled by his OC character, who is infinitely powerful. Apparently doesn't have the whole thing is where the more power she uses, the quicker she dies, even though she does, because Tim and Damien talk about that. So she should be like almost dead by now, because think of like the power that it would need to take to like kill or defeat Captain Atom. This guy's like he's what Dr. Manhattan is based on. He can go toe to toe with Superman.
Also, we know he's not killing the heroes, and he's not brainwashing the heroes for whatever stupid reason. Why don't you all rush her at once, and then she'll burn herself out?
Yeah, why don't all these heroes just come at... And that's the thing, they can't, because the government for some reason. The government has laws now that say no, and it's seemingly all based upon the fact that he has Alfred, and will kill Alfred.
Well, also, too, crime is down in Gotham, Matt, and you see that's all the government cares about is low crime statistics and the fact that there's no criminals. So I'm like, they're still criminals. They're just dressed as fucking cops now. I'm like, are you trying to do socio-political commentary now? 76 issues in, is this where we've gone to now? You ham-handedly trying to have a message in all of this? Look, I thought your other work was pretentious, but at least you didn't try and have like some social commentary on here. I'm usually the person who jumps for social commentary, not this time.
Yeah. So you get all that bullshit, and then you get like Tim Drake talking with like a beaten and broken Captain Atom, who's like basically in tears because this girl, she's so strong, and I'm like,
the government, man, the government done took my goldfish and unplugged my TV.
It's just so ridiculous. And then he meets with Damien and they talk about what's going on, and I like that they actually had a moment for them to talk, because it made King reminded him those characters exist,
Yeah.
characters that have never like really been in his books at all.
Rarely.
But then he makes them talk like this is the first time Batman and Gotham have ever had something like this happen. The first time Batman has been beaten, all this sort of stuff.
There was this thing called No Man's Land, you might remember.
There's this thing called Nightfall, Death in the Family, all these big storylines. But as I said in my review, none of that is canon to King's book. Only things he writes is canon. So all of this is like new Batman.
It's the King of Verse. It's all the thing that stuck in my craw about that is Damian doesn't care if Alfred gets hurt or not.
Yeah, I'm like bullshit. You compare that to like what happened in like Deceased this week as well.
Yeah,
same with Captain Atom in that book as well.
Exactly, man. They had big weeks this week. Yeah, Alfred's one of the few people Damian actually cares about.
Yeah. For him, I could see it being like, oh, it's Damian acting like tough, but like you need to have that moment where he that breaks. And you see him like break down a little bit, but it never happens.
No, he was acting very, very serious. Just everything about. Oh, we almost forgot about Kite Man. Kite Man came back too.
Oh yeah, and he's helping the Scarecrow and Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and he's got the Kite headquarters. And I don't care. I don't care
because Kite Man is a better Batman, Matt.
Yeah. Remember when he did that really good Kite Man story? That was actually like it was like a one shot, and it was really good. And then
you liked that. You liked the Kite Man one shot. I didn't because I'm like, well, Schultz is a fucking idiot. All of this is his fault. Why am I supposed to feel bad for a man who everything bad that happened to him was his own fault?
I liked it because it was that, because he's such a fucking idiot, and King just keeps pushing him.
Because he's literally Charlie Brown. In fact, he even says good grief in this issue, because get it, he's a Charlie Brown joke. But also, King likes Kite Man more than Batman, because Kite Man wants to save the city and wants to do all the traditional Batman things, because Kite Man's a better character than Batman.
But yeah, and that doesn't make sense, because Batman wants that as well. It's just your Batman that you write doesn't want that.
Yes, is an idiot for some reason and a weirdo and everything else. This whole run is just confusing, and I got one guy in my comments section. I haven't even bothered blocking this guy because he's not being offensive, but I just wish I could see the world the way he did. Whereas see, this book is really deep and interesting, and a lot of people are just mad at him about the wedding, and there's so much symbolism going on here that no one talks about. He then proceeds to not mention any of the symbolism.
I think it might be if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's probably the same one who comes on my reviews, because my reviews are usually up before everyone else's on this book. So he gets mine first. But again, you ask them, well, what's the symbolism? What's like the meaning behind all of this? They can never say.
Also, here's the thing too. Having symbolism doesn't automatically make your story smart or good. You can have a lot of symbolism that's really stupid symbolism.
Mm-hmm. Really and very ham-fisted, which is what this book is.
Yeah, I get what he's doing. I see what he's saying, and I think it's bad and told poorly. Look, and again, too, this is a man who's there's a hole in Russia. What's it an allegory for? A hole in Russia.
Yeah, it's a hole. It's a pit.
Yeah. You see, the night is an allegory for the night. That's a BoJack Horseman bit, actually. I don't know if you watched the last season, but there's a writer there who reminded me very much of Tom King when writing Batman, where it's like, why is every shot so dark? Because the night is an allegory for what? The night.
I'm always reminded of that Gareth Marenghi character. He's like, I know writers who use subtlety and they're all cowards.
All cowards. Yep, that's this run basically. Also too, hey, shout out to Generation West who mentioned this, and I never even thought about this one. Why does the Captain Atom have broken arms and legs and in a hospital bed? Isn't he just pure energy in a man suit?
That's the thing, yeah. His suit, like we have that run, where he fought Superman, and Superman hit him so hard that it cracked the
suit,
the suit, and we know as well what happened this week. What happens when his suit cracks? how does that work with Gotham Girl? Like, I bet if they were to explain it, they'd be like, oh, I secretly like fixed him in super speed or something, or
Right.
some shit like that. I bet.
Well, Bane got the Psycho Pirate to make him think he had bones, and then Gotham Girl proceeded to break the bones that he thought he had
and the bones are an allegory for the government, and it's broken.
Yes, it's broken. As broken as his bones. Oh, Eisner, please. Give me an Eisner.
Oh god.
But yeah, that was Batman. What the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm so glad I don't have to read that Batman Catwoman when it's done, because it's not the main Batman book anymore.
I'm gonna read it just to see like what more shit he pulls out. Like, it's like, this was all building up to this. It'll be worth it.
I'm dying to know the sales on that book. How many people are reading because they're really invested in Tom King's story, and how many people are reading just because it's the main Batman book on the shelf?
Yeah, well, we know in like past, and I think it's still happening, that like Immortal Hulk is beating it. So
is outselling it. Actually, too, I think on pre-orders, again, if Bleeding Cool is to be believed, Vampirella actually outsold it too this month.
That's great.
Just in pre-orders.
That's great.
Which, hey, thank you, Dynamite, for sending me this Vampirella book. And also, Matt, you remember a couple episodes back I complained that all the other YouTubers were given boys omnibuses to help tie in with the show?
Yeah.
Well, apparently Dynamite heard me complaining because they sent me them.
That's awesome.
So the moral of the story, everyone, as Bill Clinton said in that episode of The Simpsons, just complain and complain until your dreams come true.
Send me omnibuses, please. I'll pay for shipping.
Yeah, send Matt some omnibus. I gotta watch the show, actually. I had Amazon up earlier tonight, and I was gonna watch it, but then I got stuck up making dinner and everything. I'm gonna watch it.
You gotta watch it, man. It's so good.
Again, it's the hot topic thing now. Everyone's talking about it, and it hasn't gone away. So, yeah, all right, I'll do it. Actually, man, there's a YouTuber out there, his name escapes me right now, but fuck was he smart. Because in the, in the preamble to the show coming up, he covered every volume individually, but, actually kind of, titled it to where it's like, oh, when you're done the show, come watch this.
I had thought about doing that, but then I just ran out of time. I was gonna, digitally get, the omnibuses and stuff, and just, go through them all and do, story times and stuff on them, but I ran out of time.
I feel like you and I think about doing that every time, and we never do. And the times we do it is the times that it doesn't matter and it doesn't
no one
sync
gives
up
a shit.
at all.
Yeah,
nobody gives a shit, or it's like, nah, there's millions of Batman and millions of Superman stories. Maybe with the boys it's different because there's only the one. So if you want to see what happens next in the story, you have to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to cover The Kitchen because The Kitchen is coming out soon, and that's based on a comic, and I'm like, oh, this is very much up my alley. But then I'm like, oh, there's no capes and no nothing in it, so this might actually be the worst watched thing on my channel.
Yeah.
Kitchen does look good, though. I do want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what else did we have this week, Matt?
We'll keep the Captain Atom train rolling, and we had Deceased issue 4 this week, and story actually happened, finally.
Yeah, you and I were arguing about this one here. You didn't like that no one actually seemed to be talking about how to fix the zombie problem, and to me, I'm like, hey man, it's just all about survival. But it seems that Waller and Captain Atom were working really hard on fixing things.
Yeah, Waller, Captain Atom, and the Atom were fixing it. And we actually learned a little bit of lore about this DC universe, where it's whenever there's a plague or anything, they have a protocol, which is Atom shrinks down to fight the plague and try and work out what it is to combat it and stuff, and I thought that was pretty cool.
It is. You would think in a superhero world they should have contingencies like this.
Yeah, and if that protocol doesn't succeed, protocol C or D ends up happening, which is Captain Atom goes and just fucking kills everyone.
Burn it all, time for everything to burn. Burn it down, Pookie, we're burning this place down.
So he ends up doing that, but then ends up starting to go nuclear, because as we find out, Atom has been infected and is stayed microscopic and entered Captain Atom and is just eating his cells apart.
Also, the fact that you can say the Atom killed Captain Atom is just a hell of a sentence.
It is. They were splitting the atoms.
boy, were they. And so if the death zombie thing wasn't bad enough, now Captain Atom is going to explode, and we don't know how much of the world he's going to destroy when he explodes, because he's just that powerful.
Yeah, so, and then meanwhile, the heroes on the Daily Planet are getting ready to do their broadcast and stuff, and we get a really cool moment about, like, the Superman wants to go out and help people, and Dinah and all that. No, you can't, because if you get infected, we're, like, fucked. And he's like, well, I can't actually get infected because this whole time I've been using X-ray vision to, like, see everything. That's such a cool and creative use of his powers. That's so cool.
And it reminds you that Superman is smart, too.
It does. So I wonder if John's doing that as well.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, like, I was totally doing the X-ray thing. Do X-ray thing now.
I never learned that power.
Yeah, what do you mean you weren't doing the X-ray thing already? Then we get giant-sized zombie Giganta. I love Giganta, and I love her costume, too, the jumpsuit thing.
Yeah, she's, like, wrecking shit. Batplane comes in with Alfred, and he, like, fucks her up a little bit.
Deadeye Alfred in his jet.
Diana, Wonder Woman, has learned since she was on Themyscira, she learned from Mera about what's happening, and she heard Lois's message, and she comes to Metropolis to kill Giganta, and Superman stops her saying, oh, we can save them, but then, like, Cyborg just, like, blows her head up. That was so cool.
No, we can't. No, we can't, actually. I've had the anti-life equation in my head. I know how screwed we are. There's no changing them back. They just hunger for death. Yeah. They're drawn to life, and they're not going to stop until we're all dead like them.
There's zombies that can sense life. They're called the Blight.
The Blight, which is a great name.
Yeah, we find out that, like, Flash, like Barry and Wally are still alive because they got sent to a bunker in Keystone by Batman, because if they were to get infected, the virus would spread exponentially.
Could spread it back in time, could spread it all over the world. It's hilarious. It actually reminds me very much of Marvel Zombies and Quicksilver, and be like, don't let the Speedster get it.
Yeah. So they all come back together, and Black Lightning and his daughters and stuff figure out that they can make, like, these, like, what are they, contact lenses that slightly blur people's visions to stop them from getting infected by the stuff. So they have to deal with that, and they try and sort out what happens next, and that's when Captain Atom goes nuclear and just fucking obliterates Washington and, by the looks of it, most of Metropolis, or all of Metropolis.
Definitely killed the two members of the Trinity, so we're now down the Trinity.
Because I mean, Superman probably could survive that. Wonder Woman, I'm not too sure about.
I mean, they were definitely closest to the blast zone. They were closest to ground zero. Plus, I mean, wouldn't that be a hell of a thing where it's like, oh, you thought we meant business when we killed Batman. Well, also now we killed these guys. Actually, it would be crazy, too, because we see Alfred give the bat suit over to Damian, being like, you're like his blood son, and you're also the last one left, because Dick and Tim are also dead.
Yeah,
wouldn't it be crazy?
That would be
crazy
cool.
If for issue 5 we jump forward in time. We jump forward like 10 years.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool.
So you got, like, 20-year-old Superboy and Damian and, like, 20-year-old Black Lightning's kids having to, like, survive in this world that, like, is not only filled with zombies but also a huge crater where DC used to be.
That would be really interesting. That would be really interesting, and kind of, like, bring it also back to, like, what Tom Taylor was doing in, like, Injustice and the latest things, where where, like, Black Lightning was, like, a main character because he was president of the United States and stuff, and he was rebuilding after the whole Injustice stuff. So it would be kind of like a retreading of that, but in, like more bloodier fashion, because you got zombies and shit wandering around.
Because I'm thinking this late in the thing, I'm like, okay, so you said you can't change them. So there's not going to be a happy ending here. So how do you get out of this? Do you even get out of this? Or does this just have a sad ending?
Yeah, do you have to abandon Earth? You have to blow up Earth? Or so. We know there's going to be more after this series ends, because they kind of spoiled it with, like, one-shots and probably, like, a season 2.
Yeah.
So
which means it's already that popular.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued to see where they're going to go with this. And there was also, like, a little bit of, like, Harley and Poison Ivy this issue, where Poison Ivy's going to use the green to protect them.
Yeah, she offhandedly says the green will protect us, and I'm like, question, with all these dead people running around, doesn't that mean the rot is more powerful now than it's ever been?
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if they actually talk about that.
Yeah, I want like Solomon Grundy or Anton Arcane to come out and be like, I am unto a god now.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. There's yeah, just that one little thing of like an infection is like fucked so much up in the DC universe with like the green and like people can't be saved now and like what happens now.
Like, the Themyscira is fine because it's away from man's world. I imagine Oa is fine because it's out in space, unless the infection starts going other places in the world.
That's what I'm really intrigued. So, like, obviously Hal Jordan got infected, and then now Diana has his ring. I was really looking to see if maybe the ring got infected, and in turn, because that's connected to the central power battery, the central power battery gets infected.
Ooh, that's a hell of a thing. Every time a Green Lantern tries to charge their ring, they get infected and take it everywhere in the universe.
Which would also then mean that the Black Lanterns come into power as well, because they have a control over the dead.
Because they're all dead, so everyone becomes a Black Lantern then.
Ooh, so much cool shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of places you could go here with this, where it's like, all right, how big could a zombie apocalypse get? What about Magic Care? What about the Tower of Fate? Because the Tower of Fate is in another dimension. Are they fine?
Yeah, the Rock of Eternity, stuff like that.
Yeah, crazy shit. All right, what else did you want to talk about? What else did we have? We got Immortal Hulk number 22. That was this week.
Ooh, what happened here?
Hulk and his friends raid Area 51.
Did they Naruto run to dodge the bullets?
They might as well have. Like, people are like, oh, fuck off, Joel. That didn't happen. No, it actually did.
That's great.
And Al Ewing isn't a meme lord. It just means he thought of this and then it became a meme. Imagine how he must have felt being like, that book's off at the printer and this is the meme. Really?
Perfect. People, I'm going to outsell Batman again.
Yes, because they all want to read this issue. Man, if I was Al Ewing, I'd be stoking the fires. Hey, everyone, Naruto running might not protect you from gunfire, but buying this issue of Immortal Hulk might.
He's there when it comes time for the raid. He's like handing out issues. Like, read the issue. It'll tell you how to get in.
Yeah, he's painted himself green. You can trust me. I'm the immortal Al Ewing. But no, the idea is that Gamma Flight got all fucked up in the previous issue because General Fortin kicked all their asses single-handedly.
Yep.
Which he shouldn't have been able to do because he was just a normal guy in a power suit. And Sasquatch is dead, but like Puck and no one else is really sad because like, hey, he's a Gamma guy. He'll come back. They all come back. Doc Samson, you're sad, but you like came back just recently. And he's like, why did he only kill Sasquatch but only knock the rest of us out? How does that make any sense? Why did he single him out particularly? We got to go find Shadow Base's base of operation, which is at Groom Lake, which is another word for Area 51, which, hey, was also the place the Gamma Corps lived and worked before Doc Green depowered them.
Interesting.
So Al Ewing bringing all the shit together. Meanwhile, Betty and Bruce are in like a really shitty rundown motel, waiting essentially for Rick Jones to come back to life now that they tore him out of the Abomination. But Betty refuses to not be the Harpy, and she's still really mad at Bruce. And Bruce is like, hey, Betty, do you want to like become a human again? She's like, no, this is me now. And Bruce is like, well, this is fucked up and I don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to let Joe Fix-It deal with this now. Hey, Joe, you want to take over my mind and deal with this? And he just does. And I'm like, oh, I love the idea Hulk can just hand off the baton to other personalities. Hey, Doc Green, you want a piece of this? And we get to hear a little bit more about Jacqueline McGee and her connection to the Hulk and being like, why am I as a journalist being dragged around here? And the big takeaway is, oh, Devil Hulk likes you. Not like in a weird way, but like you stand up to him and ask him tough questions when no one else will kind of way.
Devil Hulk want the booty.
Basically, yeah, so you get to hang out with us now forever. And then Rick Jones does come back to life, and he's like, Area 51, that's where they were keeping me. All of our enemies are going to be there. And Hulk's like, all right, let's go kick their asses then. And so it ends with a big Mexican standoff at Area 51 between Shadow Base, the Gamma Flight, and Hulk and his people.
Oh, that sounds so cool. I got to start reading that book again.
It's wonderful. It's one of the best things going on right now. And I'm so happy people like Hulk now, and like Hulk is a big book to read.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool that they've managed to make him like a star character.
Again, yeah, because like I loved the last two runs with Wade and Duggan and everyone else, and I was trying to like, you know, pimp those books out to anyone who would listen, and no one did. But I'm glad they finally got on board with a Hulk book.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is. It's good shit. What else do we have?
I had a good Tom King book this week.
Oh, did you know?
Yes, I had Superman Up in the Sky issue 2.
Right, that's right. See, I haven't read this or the Batman one yet, but I really should, because apparently they're much better than the other books they're writing.
Yeah, so this one kind of sort of continues the story from the first one. This is like classic Tom King fashion, where he starts the story and then kind of dives off into something else.
Right, but this actually makes a little bit more sense because these are like Walmart comics, so they're probably expected to be like, oh, you know, we don't know which issue you're picking up, but here's a full story anyway.
Yeah, so it's broken into two parts. In the first part, he fights Mito, the mighty mercenary, in a boxing match. Because,
oh, nice.
Because
I've seen the cover.
Because his leads for this kidnapped girl took him too close to the people that have kidnapped her, so they sent Mito after to stop Superman. So Superman has to like beat him, and Mito's whole shtick is that like he's really powerful, and he basically wears people out so that he can just sort of like knock them over, kind of like Homer when he was a boxer.
You beat me to it,
kind of
like that episode of Simpsons.
Yeah, and so he's fighting Superman, and Superman, like for all intents and purposes, has no limits. So it's this whole thing where Superman ends up actually getting the shit beat out of him pretty badly, and he keeps his trainers keep telling him to throw in the towel, but he's like, I haven't found that girl yet. I'm not thrown in the towel yet. So he actually
ends. Heard no bell.
Yeah, it's Rocky. It's Rocky. Adrian found the bell, and he ends up boxing this guy to near death, where the guy basically just gives up because he's like, I don't want any more pain. I'm just gonna give up. And then
Superman remembers his time boxing Muhammad Ali.
Yes,
so
he remembers the rope-a-dope and everything. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just a story about Superman not giving up. It's done pretty cliche and like the whole boxing ring sort of thing.
Idea, yeah.
Yeah,
but it works.
It works, yeah. The second story sees Superman, like when we find him in the story, he's dead, I guess, and he gets found by like these aliens who this alien tries to heal him but can't. And in the process, the alien ends up like getting a bunch of Superman's memories. And throughout the story, this alien sees how much Superman means to not just his world of Earth, but the universe, and how many countless times he has saved the universe and in turn saved their race as well. And he's kind of torn with the fact that he can heal Superman, but it would kill him. And he's got a family and everything on this world. And he has to deal with the fact that he needs to save Superman because Superman inspires so many people, and Superman is inspired by so many people, so he has to give up his own life for Superman to come back to life and live and save the universe again.
See, that sounds really good.
It is. It's so good. It's so damn good. I'm like, where the fuck is all of this in his Batman book?
You know what it is? I think, for one, Tom King actually seems to like Superman more than Batman. Two, these kind of weird, abstract-y, kind of corny ideas work better with a character like Superman than they do with Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. That actually sounds positive.
It is. It's really damn good. It's written really well. It's got art by Andy Kubert, so it looks really cool.
Ooh, nice. You can also just do more with Superman, too. Like, you can put him in any weird situation. It's like, yeah, he's Superman. He gets himself into that all the time.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what that issue that, like, came under fire where Superman's, like, thinking of all the times Lois dies. I'm interested to see how that holds up.
Yeah, really. Oh, we'll get a chance, won't we?
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm glad you like. I will have to check that out, and I'll have to check out the Bendis Batman, because people said the Bendis Batman was really good. It is.
The second issue comes out this week, so yeah, it was really good. That first issue was really cool.
I got to make like story so far videos on them.
Yeah.
What else did I have? I had a Daredevil this week.
I literally read this before we started.
Yeah, man. Basically tackling Matt Murdock's superhero addiction, really, is what they're saying it is to him. It is every bit an addictive substance to him as the painkillers were.
Yeah, and it starts with the great great start where he's just like playing chess with Reed Richards in the park, and he like asks, he's talking to Reed because Reed is like the smartest person on Earth, and and he asks the guy like, "Is God real?"
Yeah,
and
a very mature, very adult conversation in this superhero comic.
Yeah, and Reed's like, I don't know, maybe not. I've seen some pretty weird shit, but I haven't seen God, so he might not exist, but then I might be wrong.
I might also be God because I recreated a bunch of universes not that long ago.
Yeah, I like how Matt like posits the fact that like, oh, maybe like he made you because you're his hand, and you're here to tell us that he's real or tell us about him and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah,
and Reed's like, don't put that shit on me.
No, fuck no, not that.
Don't put that shit on me, man. And also, too, I'm like, all right, let me turn it on you. Maybe your love of rules and dogma and everything is what not only made you the lawyer you are, but made you the hero you are, too.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great conversation. I'm surprised neither of them mentioned, like, hey, let's call up Thor and ask him if God is real. Aye, he is real. 'Tis my father, Odin. Would you like to talk to him?
He would do that as well.
Yeah, really. I'll put him on right now. Dad, they're asking philosophical questions again. and Odin would be like, is like, tell them I work in mysterious ways. They love that one. Okay, now they're asking why you let bad things happen to good people. Oh, and then he just flies away. That is good shit. I really like that. Again, give it to Zdarsky to do something, so adult.
Yeah, so adult and so against like the grain of his like usual like really funny stuff. Like he's done a really good job with it, especially in this book, of blending like funny stuff but also like this really serious, really cool stuff.
Very much so. And, it's like this whole crisis of faith thing is reflected, too, in Cole North, who, the rest of the dirty cops in the NYPD don't like how he's making their job so much harder. And they're like, look, we know we can't hurt you because you can defend yourself, but what if we hurt your partner and everyone else around you unless you stop?
I love that scene where they, like, lock him in the interrogation cell and they flip on the lights and they're all in there and they're like, yeah, we're on to you, North.
And it's that great bit of, we can see you, you can't see us.
Yeah.
So you don't know how corrupt the department is, but it's very clearly corrupt.
Yeah, it's like all the cops.
And like even the good cops who won't rat on the bad cops for what they're doing. I'm like, ooh, we're talking about systematic corruption. I like this.
Yeah.
And also, like, True probably strengthening the idea. It's like, I bet Cole North is going to put on a Daredevil costume at some point during this, because he's now learned that all these rules and all these laws that he's upholding are kind of bullshit in a system where, like, everyone else is corrupt and you're the only one who cares. Yeah. Maybe a little extra justice, a little vigilante justice might be called for Cole. We know you hate vigilantes.
It's that great, like, parallel to Matt where he thinks that he needed those rules to be Daredevil, whereas Cole says, no, I don't need the rules to be Daredevil.
It's one of the best, like crack mirror there, but for the Grace Go I type moments between these two characters, and it's really well done.
Yeah, and then to top it all off, we got Matt like fucking around with like the book lady.
In many ways too, he like gets his violence quota for the night. He's like, oh, a boy's in trouble. I'm the only one who can save him. Is God putting me in this situation? Is he testing me? I know I said I wouldn't. I know I'm kind of addicted to crime fighting. Okay, let me put the black shirt over my face again and let's do this just one more time. And then he's like, okay, well, I got my violence quota for tonight. Maybe I should get some boning quota for tonight too. Matt, you know she's married, right? You know that's literally breaking the 7th commandment. Right? I don't care. I can't stop myself.
Well, not only that, she's married. She's married into a crime family.
She's married to the mob, literally.
Yeah, so that's like even more like shit thrown Matt's way as well.
But again, it's Zdarsky painting this picture where it's like, yes, Matt Murdock is an addict.
Yeah.
He was addicted to pills. He's addicted to religion. He's addicted to being a vigilante. And he's a bit of a sexaholic as well.
Yeah. It's really damn cool. It's so damn awesome and interesting and has made me like so happy that I've picked this book up.
People are really enjoying this one too. I notice more people are reading this than ever read like the Souls run or the Wade run before that, which is hilarious to think that this super pared down, non-costume wearing Daredevil is the one people really got into.
And not only that, those runs were happening when Daredevil was like on Netflix and stuff, whereas like the run that's taking place now where he's no longer on Netflix, has been cancelled, is like one of the most popular runs ever.
It's shocking, isn't it? A fan actually brought up an interesting comment that I wanted to mention here. They said, why is the Kingpin always doing good and Matt always doing so bad? And someone said, well, it's tradition. But I thought to myself, I'm like, no, when we last saw Kingpin, he wasn't doing so good either. He tried to be a legit politician only to realize, oh, politics is as dirty as the crime I came from. Oh,
yeah.
I thought we were polar opposites, but we're clearly not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like now he's like lost his way and he doesn't know what to do now because Daredevil has been defeated and like, what do I do?
Just like Matt, who is lost without Daredevil, the Kingpin is equally as lost without the Kingpin and without Daredevil.
Yeah.
It is this great story about temptation and lost and being rudderless and what is our place in the world. Mm-hmm. Good shit. Good, very deep, very adult shit, as I keep saying.
It is shit. And speaking of Kingpin, I had Punisher issue 14, 15.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm reading this in trade, but again, I'm hearing good things.
Oh, this issue, yeah. So the UN, who are actually Hydra agents in disguise, move into Manhattan to capture Punisher, and they're led by the new Thunderbolts team.
Nice.
Which is led by Zemo and all of
fitting
like
as he led the original
Fixer and everything, all in costume, pretending to be heroes.
Which is exactly what they did when they first appeared as the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, and he's kind of like fucking up Fisk's ideas. Like Fisk also brought back the Vigil team of the cops, but Zimmer's like, yeah, no, fuck that shit. They're only spying for Fisk on me, so like they can fuck off. So he's been trying to capture Punisher with his men. So Punisher learns that these guys are all these UN soldiers, which he thought just complicated the things because they're more or less innocent people. And now they're in his way. He learns from Black Widow that they're all Hydra. So he's like, I'm going to get my fucking killing on then.
Yeah, so, really? All right then.
So yeah, he just like murders a whole heap of them. And that like makes Fisk angry because they, underneath their UN stuff, they wore Hydra stuff. Like gear associated with Hydra. So like cops all saw them with Hydra and people realizing now that they're all Hydra people. So he's like, what the fuck, Zemo? You fucked up everything.
You're making a lot of trouble in my city.
Yeah, so Thunderbolts go after him and they almost fucking kill Frank, but Frank is saved by Natasha and Night Thrasher.
Ooh, the skateboard guy.
Yeah, and they're like, right, so you kind of need your own team to combat this threat of the Thunderbolts. So he ends up he gets Natasha, he gets Night Thrasher, he gets Moon Knight.
I saw the Moon Knight panel making the rounds. Yeah, it's really funny.
He gets Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. And there's
cool.
This,
yes, he's getting a bit of a push.
There's this fucking awesome scene where like Ghost Rider like smashes through a tank and Frank's on the back just shooting all these guys and everything. Oh, it's so cool. It's so damn cool. And he also gets Rachel Elves, who people remember as like the female Punisher.
Interesting. Yeah, wow, that's really... Jeez, we have not seen her since the Rucka days. They're bringing her back?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they make a big deal about bringing her back in this. And yeah, they all end up in this team. They're all like, we're going to go fuck up these UN troops.
Hey, you know what? If Matthew Rosenberg wants to write a Thunderbolts team with just that lineup, I'll read the shit out of that.
I would too. It's so damn cool. It's so cool.
This sounds like a backdoor pilot for a new Thunderbolts book.
It kind of does feel like, and as well as they're going to be on like some of these new TV shows that are coming out. So I would not put them past them to make this a backdoor into that.
Certainly helps. Man, yeah, I was really excited to read that in trade when that story's done, so you'll have to tell me so I can catch up on all of it.
It's so damn good.
Yeah, Matthew Rosenberg, underrated creator, doing good shit.
Yeah.
I guess the last book I read this week was Justice League.
I read this one too.
Yeah, a little Jaro-centric story.
It was so cool to see Jaro, the newest and most awesome and best Robin,
Yes, as he says repeatedly, and by the end of the story, you're like, yeah, maybe.
I don't know whether you got comments like that, but like I got people like really pissed off at that. I'm like, it's like a joke, right? He's not like actually a Robin.
He's a comedy tentacle in a suit.
Yeah, they're like, no, Tim Drake is the best Robin. Damien's really. I'm like, it's a joke, guys. It's a joke.
But also, Batman is spending more time with Jarro recently than the other Robins.
He really is.
So make up your own mind. Also, Dick doesn't remember who he is anymore. Jarro knows who he is.
Yeah, Jarro remembers. He didn't get shot in the head.
Yeah. He's not Rick Jarro. He's just Jarro.
Yeah. So Jarro, we get kind of like Jarro's like origin, whereas like we see Starro team up with we see how Starro's like been born on like this O world, which is like rogue planets where everyone's fighting for survival. And
I do love how they tie that into Perpetua and the universe and being like, some planets just come out fucking wrong.
Yeah. This one has fecal planet syndrome. And it like spawns Starro, and Starro becomes the strongest being of this planet, spreads out to other planets, becomes known as Starro the Conqueror, before teaming up with the Justice League to defeat the Omega Titans, where it's ripped in half and becomes Jarro.
This was kind of a catch-up issue in a weird way, too, because they mention everything that's happened from Justice League No Justice to right now.
Yeah. And Jarro has like found the Legion of Doom and decide like, well, I'm going to go fuck them all up myself. And
then I'll be the greatest hero and Bat Dad will love me.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And he very nearly does though as well. Like he introduces the Bat Cannon, and I like how they're all laughing at him. So he's like, "Well, fuck you guys, I'm going to use the Bat Cannon." And they're like, "Oh shit, this thing is like really powerful."
Yeah, he's actually been paying attention.
Batman and the Justice League are meanwhile doing their recruitment things, and Martian Manhunter, who they remember existed, bursts in and says Jarro found the Legion, so they end up going and fighting the Legion, and we find out that this is all like Jarro's like precog dream sort of thing, where he sees the Justice League fight and lose against Lex, and they all get turned into apex predators. And he wants to save them from that happening. So what he's done is he's infected he's become Starro the Conqueror. And again, and because that was the only way he could save the Justice League, and he's done that by infecting them all, and he was going to take them to one of these O planets and hide them essentially.
And Batman was horrified, but also kind of touched that he was willing to go this far to try and save everybody.
Yeah, Batman's like, look, that was good, but because I didn't think of it, it's a villain's plan.
Yeah, also fuck you. No, it actually is a nice bit of character growth. Batman being like, that's not how heroes win. That's not how we do things. That's too easy, because if you remember, only an arc back, he's like, yeah, I'm going to put on the final Batsuit and change everyone's mind by force. But now he's saying the lesson he learned back, where it's like, no, I learned that wasn't the right thing to do.
Scott Snyder's Batman remembers things.
Yeah, he doesn't have the memory of a goldfish.
He remembers things between arcs. So yeah, they get a cool moment where they hug and everything, and they're like, we're going to prepare for war.
Yep, they sure do.
And then the Justice League are like regrowing their own Starro, the original Starro, and they torrented all the battle plans for the Justice League when
they basically did.
When Jarro attacked them, so they have the cheat codes.
Yep, they got all the cheat codes now. Up, down, left, right.
I love how Scott Snyder's like making the villains like an actual fucking threat. Like they're constantly winning. They just constant, and like this is another thing, they like downloaded the battle plans and stuff for the Justice League. So like, what the fuck is the Justice League gonna do now?
It's the scariest the Legion of Doom has ever been, and the most competent they've ever been ever.
Yeah. It's so cool. It's so cool.
I'm reminded very much of The Light from Young Justice, actually, where it's like, oh yeah, you won that battle, but like we actually completed our mission and we're gonna win the war.
Yeah. So that's really cool. I think next issue starts this big Justice Doom War storyline that Snyder's been building up to. So it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, sign me the hell up for that. Yeah. So that was everything I read this week.
I got two more books. I got
Lightning Round.
I got a Year of the Villain book in Sinestro.
Oh yeah, I almost read this, but I figured I haven't been reading anything Green Lantern related, so I had no business picking it up. How was it?
Nothing to do with Green Lantern at all.
Good.
So Lex sends Sinestro out to defeat these villains called the Paragons, who have come from a different universe to stop Lex's plans of bringing the universe to doom. And they've been going around destroying all his like defense network. So Sinestro was sent out to destroy them because of his lantern powers. He's very strong and everything. And he notes that they can't actually be killed because whenever he cuts off some of their fingers and they like immediately regrow. And he's like, well, how the fuck do I destroy this? So he gets some of the fingers that he cuts off and he's doing his archaeological thing. He's running tests on them and everything. And
which we remember that Sinestro was an archaeologist.
Yeah, and he learns that inside these beings is a microscopic civilization that actually work for them and actually use their technology to basically heal them whenever they get hurt.
A very Twilight Zone.
Yeah, so Sinestro's like, well, how the fuck am I going to beat these? It's like, okay, I'll use my lantern power to send my consciousness out into these beings to go into the civilization. And he does that and he tries to find out like what their whole deal is. And apparently their whole lifespan is that of like 0.8 milliseconds, and their whole life.
Oh, so they're the worms from Futurama.
Yeah, and their whole lives are devoted to helping the Paragons. And in classic Mark Russell fashion, Sinestro.
Oh, Russell wrote this.
Yes, he did.
Oh shit, he's writing this and the Riddler one.
Yes.
Oh fuck. Well, then I do have to read it now.
Yeah, he gets Sinestro to ask like, well, why are you helping these people? Like, what are they doing for you that makes you want to help them? And the people are like, we don't know. We just need to serve them. It's like, we don't need questions or anything. It's like, so you're just gonna blindly follow them? Like, yeah, we're just gonna get back to work now.
My geez, it's like Mark Russell is a famous political satirist or something.
Yeah, so he a bunch of the planets get destroyed, and he eventually comes up with a plan to extend their lives by 0.2 milliseconds. And doing that gives these people like the pleasure of time, which allows them to like grow as a culture and like experience like the hippie movement and all this sort of stuff. And and like all this,
he just explaining it to me is hilarious.
All this like really cool shit where it's like they end up like denouncing their gods, and the Paragons end up getting destroyed except for one.
Amazing.
One he kept one Sinestro kept for himself to use as like a guard to help him in his work. And and they basically made Sinestro their god in a way, like what was it called, like minister of information or something. So he's in control of everything, and he's able to save the last one because he gets like the boomers to realize that the newer generation are lazy, and he starts seeding this thing where it's like to get them to back to work and everything. It's so funny. It's so funny.
As every older generation does, they always think the younger one is more sinful and lazy and everything, and our parents swore they wouldn't do it, but they ended up doing it. That's fucking amazing. Okay, you sold me on this. I'm gonna read that tonight.
Yeah,
that sounds really good.
It's so damn cool, and it's interesting as well because it also like seeds the stuff as like, oh, maybe Sinestro might like, because it's the whole thing is like, is Sinestro working for Lex, and is Lex working for Sinestro? Like, is there that sort of symbiotic relationship, or is Sinestro just working for Lex? And
right, because how do you get all these big villainous personalities to work together?
Yeah, and it kind of sows that seed of like, oh, maybe Sinestro, maybe some of the other villains might form an insurrection against Lex.
Because again, Sinestro 2 is like, I'm not evil all the time.
Yeah, man. yeah. That's like the thing in this. He isn't evil. He just like helped people.
Yeah, I'm written to be very Magneto-esque at times, so like if you have to worry about anyone betraying you, it's going to be me.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued to see if that actually goes anywhere, and it also makes me want a Sinestro book by Mark Russell.
Yeah, well, apparently he's doing this. He's doing the Riddler one, and I love the idea that, you know, they could have been really lazy with these Year of the Villain tie-ins, where it's like, oh, here's just villains acting bad. No, here's like a political satirist doing something funny.
Yeah, it's
starring comic book
really
villains.
funny, and it works so well with Sinestro, surprisingly.
Yeah. Sinestro had a book for a bit, didn't he?
A damn good book.
Yeah, I forgot about that he was actually so popular at one time, he held up a whole book on his own.
Yeah.
Wow, that you sold me on that one, Matt. I'm going to actually go and download that tonight and check that one out.
It's really damn good.
All right, what was your last book for the week?
My last book for the week was Lois Lane issue 2.
Oh, yeah. See, I read issue 1, enjoyed it, but was also like, okay, this is going to read way better in trade, I can already tell.
Yeah, so this issue is Lois continuing her investigation into that other reporter's death. She sends or before all that happens, the like news has like obviously picked up on that kiss that her and Superman shared in the Bendis book. Ooh. And they're like all the gossip people are like, oh, she's gonna split away from Clark Kent and like go and marry Superman, and like all, you know, the usual like shit the social media
tabloids are always selling
all that sort of shit, and they're like painting her as this woman out to get Superman and everything. And Clark is like, how do you like deal with all this? And it's like, I deal it like how Superman deals with all the noise. I just tune it out. It's like there's like no point getting all upset about it. We're journalists. People are upset with us just because we're journalists. So like no point. I'm just going to get on with my work.
What a smart idea, because I know I asked the question, I'm like, why do we need a Lois solo book in 2019? Then I read issue 1, I'm like, oh, she is defending the rights of journalists in the Fourth Estate. I'm like, oh yeah, actually we super need this right now. This is the perfect time for this book, actually.
Yes, and so she and Renee Montoya talk about like this investigation they're doing, and Renee went to like Russia to this journalist's house and like found it being guarded by people, and it was definitely not a suicide like the news said. So they wonder like, what do we do now? And Lois in the last issue got given a list of like names and like money and all that sort of stuff. So she's like, we'll follow the money, and the money leads to this investment banker who Lois talks with, and he verbally threatens her and all that sort of stuff, and he eventually like agrees to like tell her everything, and they're gonna meet up, and they end up meeting up, and she brings Renee as like backup, and Renee ends up having to like stop an assassination attempt, but the investment banker is killed, and Lois is like, well, either someone didn't want me talking to him or didn't want him talking to me, and they need to like figure out who it was. It's really cool, really cool, really well written, and really great seeing the stuff behind how Lois gets a story, because usually you don't see that.
No, she just shows up. That sounds very, very Greg Rucka. Sounds very Cloak and Dagger spy type story.
Yeah, it definitely was. And yeah, you got the questions. I think like Vic Sage question is joining in next issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of really cool stuff in this book.
Classic Rucka too. Yeah, I'll write this Lois book, but you bet I'm backdooring both versions of the question in here. Yeah. Did you expect me not to? That's why I took the gig. But yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds like a book I'm really going to enjoy in trade when it's done, because I'm like, this is going to be a big long mystery, and I hate not knowing.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, was that all for this week, Matt? Was that everything?
That was everything.
Well, there you go, everyone. That was the show for this week. We hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as we enjoyed making it. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Keto Krate, as we said before, to get some nice, healthy snacks that should help you slim down the way it helped us slim down. If you are still a patron, which we thanked at the top of the show, you will be sure to get this episode before anyone else, both audio and visual versions out. You might get it a day late. Sorry about that. We did the show late, and Matt's doing audio wizardry now to make the show sound better than it ever has before.
Yeah, I'll make sure to also put like code in the screen below our names here, so you can go and check out Keto Krate, get an awesome discount.
$5 off, and help the channel while you're doing it. Yeah. And naturally, for everyone else, you probably listen to this show because it's out every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're so happy to have you here with us, and we hope you will be back with us again next week.
Yeah, so see ya, everyone.
Until then, everybody, bye-bye.
Bye.